All right, welcome back to the channel. I'm just going to try some of these Buffy cards. I've already pulled 3, and then I'm like, this is too good. I'm going to put this on the channel, but we'll keep going. Kind of like this is just for the collective or anybody that's just wanting to just see how these Buffy cards work, and then also maybe find stuff intriguing and or don't necessarily have to identify as the collective or something like that. But let me put on some tunes. And so with the first card we get, it's because the general energy was just like what happened kind of thing, right? I just felt like there was just that was a question to ask. I don't know what happened, obviously, but kind of looking at that. And so the first thing we get is this Hierophant, right? And this is Giles. And what I was kind of getting from that was that it was like, it just, and it's like, in a sense, like it's this business is personal, whatever, but it has some more to do with like the theology, the Hierophant, their belief system that made them think what they were doing was right. Obviously, most people tend to think that the side they're on is the correct side, even though things aren't always black and white as that. But obviously, there's good and evil, that kind of thing. There are those who have the blood of Jesus, which is a total different territory. But there's people too. I think we've heard different things. People. It's gotten really weird. I know there's a lot of spiritual delusion, but there's also a lot of truth that is no longer classified as conspiracy theory, and the idea of those who are sort of the foil or the oppressive category, or working on the side that they think, and that's probably a delusion, but will win, will defeat good in a sense, or they think that they're good, but. It is easy to be motivated by bitterness or hypocrisy, or just feel like you're on the wrong team and you can't get on the other team or something. And that's why I don't like this whole concept of chosen necessarily, because everybody's called to be chosen. It's never just like you're only chosen or whatever. But even though the Hierophant is Giles is very rule following, some of the rules sometimes the Watchers Council were messed up, and so could be on the wrong side, like some of the things he did to Buffy, and the way they even just recruited her so young or whatever. And there are times where he rebelled against it, but there's times when he didn't. He drugged her at one point, things like that. So, and then forgiveness. I don't know. This Queen of Pentacles, I was actually feeling more. Maybe it could be like Joyce or perhaps, but we can look and see. What the book says on that, but I really feel like it's a wounding of stability, and even like a sense of emotional stability. And I don't know, that could look different for different people. I'm not gonna speak negative things in people's lives or whatever. I think you probably already know if you know, or this could be serving as some kind of confirmation. But Nikki Woods is this sort of woman who can do it all, and so it is some motherly advice to take care of yourself. And so they could have affected what it means to live independently, to your stability. I was just saying, stability, your ability to stand on your 2 feet, to invest yourself. So, but it says something about not asking for help. And maybe I think that's what they wanted to create or cultivate, potentially. Was that maybe if they go after support systems or things like that, which is a lot of the Masonic narcissistic, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of theories, Nephilim, things like that. But behind all of that, fallen angels, the opposition, that is in the Watchers Handbook. It's how that at a certain point. So, and then they maybe want you to not feel safe asking for help from people, to not know who to trust, and that kind of resonates there too with this. Being that this schema was an answer to a question. Interestingly, these were not reversals, so it's almost like it didn't work, but that's what it was like, the attempt here. She's on the bus. Is she going to New York, or she's in New York? She's in New York, right, on the bus system, which is interesting. But the Eight of Chalices in reverse here is, it is Spike. He's refusing to walk away, perhaps. It is in reverse. So walk away may be the actual healthier choice. And so, and I've been told this so many times, you stayed when you should have left or whatever. But it's like, sometimes there's other things going on beyond that. Like, it would be selfish for you to leave, and maybe like your exodus or exit is not of your own choice or making or whatever. Like, you could have been manipulated that way out. And that's something I still struggle with and don't necessarily have answers of. Just like, if maybe you stay to protect things, and so it's selfish to leave. But then you get so many tarot readers are like see this energy, and they'll bash you for like, you stayed too long, so it was Jonah or whatever. And it's just like, it feels like you're just serving someone else's purpose at that point. Because I don't know this is what it's saying. It's like choosing familiar dysfunction over unknown healing, but if you're afraid that leaving is wasting years of emotional, so I think I want to get clear on that. Like, make a couple notes real quick here of what I'm seeing, so I can see I'll have a confirmation if it does come up. That's what I think the answer is. Okay, so we're just going to slide this energy over here and just make sure you got that. Yeah, you did. Got the reverse one. So we'll go to the next. So I just want one. So we have the Fool, Xander. Exactly what we're talking about. These are new reversals, so let's look together. The Page of Chalices. Oh, he's got a cat. A kitten. Playing poker. Funny enough, playing poker and you got cats. That's a little too close to home. I just watch poker. And then the Magic Box. That's 6 of Pentacles. So, I'm trying to think of that kid's name. Page of Chalices. Clem. So, Sweet Gentle Clem is the ideal Page of Chalices. His arrival means good news and probably some hot wings, so prepare for some unexpected, highly welcome opportunity. Page symbolizes getting in touch with your softest self, conjuring the kind of curiosity you had as a kid, and exploring possibilities you might consider. And that is wildly, my current situation, doing a lot of inner child work, arcade and things like that. But so if it's like Xander's, like just like the innocence of just like seeing through the chaos to basic human needs and trusting your instincts about simple things like safety and love. So it's not being motivated by fear. But that's all ironic because you're using fear to force the Fool out of the situation. And then when you're saying, well, what about if we logic this fear? I was like, oh, well, now you're being... So let's see, maybe we get some clarity here. Yeah. So the inner child, the innocence, and the kitten here, the Page of Chalices. There is a... Yeah. Consistency of love, consistency of presence. you got full-time care that's like emotionally distanced. So I think there is something about just being present for the kids, like emotionally, when it counts, versus physical presence, which is true. So I feel like there is a kind of like mothering and fathering element here too, which we kind of got with that other energy here. So perhaps there wasn't an actual danger, but that was sort of manufactured to kind of... again, I'm thinking of Jonah and the whale. So maybe there were some trickster spirits or some trickery involved in maybe like exaggerating the sense of danger or whatever, or like orchestrating the exit. But it was all illusions, of course. But the point was, and it's like Jonah gets thrown out over the, thrown into the ocean. It seems dangerous, right? Swallowed by the whale. Seems dangerous. And spit up on shore. And then once he's on shore, then he's like kind of discombobulated before he starts preaching the message of repentance. And I don't know. Again, it has to do with, I think some of the stuff too is these like delay structures, Daniel 7 and stuff like that. They, like when you're ready to go, that's when they do their thing sometimes. And then once your fire's out, then they kind of relent. And then you're supposed to find a way to get your fire back. And so that's that patient endurance that Paul talks about. So, yeah. Because, I mean, if we look at this magic box here, it's still Giles supporting. Yeah. So maybe it is building networks, not being the one person to without controlling everything. So, I don't know. I feel like they're just kind of sidestepping this. But again, maybe it was just, yeah. I don't know. So I think there's some further clarity that needs to be there. Because, like, who really, like, it just seems dramatic. Did it really need to be this? Instead of, like, yeah. I don't know, maybe if some doors were open that shouldn't have been or something. It seems, high priestess. Cool. Tara. Ace of Talents is in reverse, I think, or six counts sideways. Maybe we'll see about. How it comes up. We have the Empress. Okay, so I'm going to formulate my question. So, High Priestess, Ace, Chalices, Reverse, and Empress. What I did was kind of like upload the book to here, so that I can just kind of mix that. But I also just kind of like actually using books. So, the High Priestess here at the front. Ooh, already. When you're under the spell of the High Priestess, things aren't always the same. She calls you to peek behind the veil that separates this world from the next, and drawing on mystical forces to unlock your creative talent. So, yeah, tarot represents a deep connection to the unseen world, experience of the unknown, and access to the knowledge you seek. It's not a time for logic, but for intuition. Yeah, and also like Tara, she was told that a lot of things about herself that were not true, so that her family could keep her under control. So it may have been, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. He ended up getting in. He didn't just go straight to shore. He went to the whale first, and so I think that maybe was driving the sense of there was danger. That's actually just illusions. And I think it's important too because a big part of this, what they say, the elites, the structures, all of these things that are orchestrating certain things, the overwhelming amount of information, spiritual information that people are getting, is that it does seem to, they thrive on fear. If you look at the news cycles and certain channels of information and all that, and how much people live in fear and stress, and the toll that stress takes on the body. And if you believe that people harvest that fear energy or whatever, on the spiritual level, kind of imagine. But it's also addictive, I think, too, cortisol and all that. But okay, so I think we're just kind of clear. Is that, yeah. Yeah. Ace of Chalice. So something that should be beautiful and like this new beginning. And then it's like, yeah, bad information. So, and showing us our own need to develop intuition and not project ourselves onto other people. Just because we're trusting and trustworthy does not mean that everybody, or the arrogance to think that, oh, we're so charming or whatever, we'll win everybody over, or that kind of thing. Some people hate your light, and so that's why they try to put it out. And that was a big dark lesson learned here. Which is, I do like do so, but in this Empress energy, where it's like, it's not in the reversal, but if you look at the picture and that kind of thing, I just think it's someone's positioning themselves as the caregiver while destroying other sources of support. So, yeah, when someone's manufacturing a reality, they might use multiple perspectives. Well, no, they would see that other perspectives would actually threaten what they've created. Because there's so much power in what you believe and what you think and how you perceive things. And the universe kind of, it's the Lord, but there's a simulation structure that is, you operate a little bit as a son of God, a daughter of God. And so when you're in illusions, which again, you can pray against and be protected from, but when you are in them, other people can't snap you out of it, right? And so sometimes that's part of the reason for like the isolation and the deception is to keep you. I mean, if people try to bind themselves to your energy, energetically destiny swap, or energetically, all of those things. I don't want to glorify them by talking about them or put fear into you, but I think that's something to consider too. So we need to clarify there is no need to worry. We're protected, we're stable, and provision is coming. Grace is coming. So we got the Devil, 10 of Pentacles in reverse, and Glory, the Nine of Skies. It's hard hiding underneath that, but I won't. So, I mean, if this is like Dark Willow, and the concept of the question is that more power, more control is going to make everything all better, and yeah, so we don't want provision through manipulation, obviously. We want to control everything. I mean, we want to stay in gratitude, obviously. I don't know. I feel like we're in Dracula's mansion in that Ten of Pentacles, but of course it's reversed, but it's like, you could say that it's like reconsidering your, an obsession with getting more accumulated wealth and power. We don't want to do it by joining dark forces or anything like that. And the things you own you. Emily Haynes song. It's also a movie. Golden Cage. Yeah. We don't want generational strings, obviously. We don't want the security going to inherit the hunger or anything like that. So we want to be dependent on the Lord and provided for. Because we get Glory, who says, "I am the God," right? And so overpower, ready to cut through any opposition. So in single-minded pursuit of the key, and she's serving power rather than truth or clarity. And so maybe and it could be just like an offer of protection, but obviously you could see how she treated those that she was protecting, quote unquote. So maybe I'm asking the wrong question. The fact that underneath it was the Eight of Pentacles, which got Giles helping Buffy with the training doll. And not all the training is going to prepare you for all the tests you face. You'll never be so prepared that nothing's ever going to be so predictable or anything like that. But training in the seminary versus on Sunday morning or Tuesday night, right? Training with dummies versus real opponents, controlled scenarios versus authentic challenges. So maybe this whole thing was just like a lot of stuff is preparation for end times and learning, and we're supposed, as long as we're supposed to be on the mountains, and you can't blame the Lord if you're not doing that. Because the systems of protection that they offer you and the strings that are attached, they convince you that you can't protect yourself, or that God won't protect you, or that, by engaging with Him in the appropriate way, that He's not going to fight for you or provide for you. So, staying connected, keeping short accounts, and praying the Lord's Prayer, asking for daily bread, for provision, to forgive your debtors, forgive all your enemies, pray for those who persecute you. Not necessarily letting them back into hurt you again, if that's what was His will, but dependence on the world system instead of dependence on the Lord, submission instead of skill building, I guess, too. So that it's like the seduction of Dark Willow, the Dracula Mansion provision, and Glory protection on. It all depends that you never realize that the training ground is kind of rigged here. When Giles leaves the second time, and leaves, kind of spoiler for a while, it really shifts a lot of things. If you develop the skill to protect yourself, you can't choose your own alliances, and they tried to convince you that they were the only ones. That's a narcissistic thing. I'm the only one who, they don't care about you. I fight for you, but it's like strings attached, covert contracts. Okay, a lot to consider there, but love these Buffy cards, and it's getting late, so more to come. If you like this, please like and comment, and that'll encourage this to be done instead of something else.